Teen dead, 2 students among 3 injured after Grangeville gun attack. A teenager was killed and 3 other persons, including 2 students, injured in a gun attack along the Corders Main Road in Grangeville, Westmoreland on the weekend. The deceased has been identified as 19-year-old Devontae Brown, a laborer from the community. The incident happened shortly after 5 p.m. on Sunday. Reporters understand that an 8-year-old male student was shot in the neck and is in serious but stable condition at hospital, while a 13-year-old female student is said to have been shot in the right middle finger. Reports from the police are that a silver Nissan Natia motor car drove up to a group of individuals gathered in the community. 2 men then alighted from the back of the vehicle wearing ballistic vests, one of whom was armed with a rifle and the other with a handgun. The men reportedly shouted police and thereafter opened gunfire at the group of persons who scampered into different directions in a bid to escape injuries. The men then boarded the said motor vehicle and made good their escape in the direction of Blake Street. When the shooting subsided, it was discovered that Brown, along with 2 students and another female, were suffering from gunshot wounds. The victims were transported to the hospital, where Brown was pronounced dead. Meanwhile, 1 female was treated for a glaze at her left foot, the 13-year-old was treated for a glaze at the right middle finger, and the 8-year-old student was admitted in serious but stable condition for gunshot wounds to the right side of the neck and left ankle. Police uncover car theft ring in St. Elizabeth. The St. Elizabeth police are sounding the alarm following the discovery of an apparent car theft ring in the parish. Acting Superintendent Courage Minto, head of the St. Elizabeth Police Division, said acting on intelligence, the police were able to recover 2 stolen vehicles on Monday night. We went to an address along the Wilton Main Road where a Toyota Vaxxy motor car was seen abandoned. A further check of the vehicle revealed that several aspects of the dashboard were dismantled. Checks further made reveal that the vehicle was reportedly stolen earlier that day in Manchester. Additionally, the police recovered a vehicle that was reported stolen in the Newmarket area a few weeks ago. We note that in that particular case, the chassis number of that vehicle was totally stamped out and replaced with another chassis number ASP Minto revealed. He said both vehicles are still being processed. ASP told reporters that there is a connection between those stealing motor vehicle documents and those who are changing out the chassis number on vehicles. The chassis or vehicle identification number is a unique number assigned to a vehicle during manufacturing. He is urging handlers to desist from the practice. A man has been held in connection with the second stolen vehicle. Cold front to continue affecting Jamaica through Friday. The Met Service says a cold front that moved across Jamaica early Tuesday morning has been producing strong winds across the island since late Monday. The strongest impacts from these winds have been across hilly areas as well as northern coastal and offshore marine areas. Recent observations indicate that coastal flooding from large waves has been occurring along sections of the north coast, including parts of Montego Bay. These strong winds are expected to continue across Jamaica and its territorial waters through to Friday, and the Met Service stated that additional coastal flooding is likely across north coast areas during this time. Strong winds are also expected to continue across hilly areas and may result in some infrastructural damage. Fishers and other marine interests, especially those on the inshore north coast and offshore south coast zones, are advised to exercise extreme caution as sea conditions are expected to remain poor due to high winds through to Friday. Heavy rains flooded sections of Negril Montego Bay. Heavy rains on the western end of the island have resulted in high tide and flooding of the west end main road in Negril, Westmoreland. The famous 7 Mile Beach was closed to the public, and hotels in the area have also reported access-related issues due to the flooding. Harbour Circle in Montego Bay, St. James was also flooded due to strong tides from overnight rain and winds. At least 3 businesses, including Pier 1, Knoxport Express, and the bar, are inundated. They have been closed to the public. Several fishermen had to pull their boats from the water due to the rough sea. Some of the vessels have been damaged after waves dislodged some engines and cracked fiberglass. Tourism Minister assessing damage after flooding hit some coastal towns. The Ministry of Tourism has said an assessment is being conducted on damaged infrastructure along coastal area in northern and western Jamaica. Some coastline areas have been battered due to adverse weather conditions affecting sections of the island including Negril, Westmoreland, Montego Bay in St. James, Ocheres in St. Anne and Aracabessa in St. Mary. Senior strategist in the Ministry of Tourism, Delona Severide, said the ministry has been in touch with tourism stakeholders. For the most part, the tourism industry is functioning quite okay. We do have a challenge in Ocheres as it relates to the cruise ship port there and working through some issues there in Ocheres, which the Port Authority of Jamaica is on top of. But we continue to assess the situation and we will continue to update the public in due course, he stated. Mr. Severide encouraged tourism stakeholders in coastal areas to take the necessary steps to safeguard their establishments. ECJ to assume role of political ombudsman as government uses majority to pass legislation. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica ECJ will officially take over the functions of the Office of Political Ombudsman OPO ahead of the local government election scheduled for February 26. The development came Tuesday after the government used its majority in the House of Representatives to pass the Political Ombudsman Amendment Act 2024. The decision came against strong objections from opposition members and a warning a week earlier from former Government Minister Carl Samudo. On Tuesday, following a divided vote that was called last week but not taken after Justice Minister Delroy Trump moved to suspend the debate of the bill he piloted, 21 members of the government voted yes and 7 opposition members voted no. Opposition leader Mark Golding described the decision as a bad idea, which he said won't find favor with Jamaicans. He told the House that when the debate was suspended last week, the opposition anticipated that there would have been collaborative discussion but none took place. All that has happened is they just come back to the ramp this bill through today despite the concerns of the opposition and the wider society on the matter. It is disgraceful, he declared. The opposition leader also described it as bad policy and bad law and again warned against having the ECJ commissioners decide on political matters that could bring the commission into disrepute. However, in a statement ahead of the vote, Chuck argued that the ECJ has long established internal protocols for treatment matters that will be adopted and applied to the matters they will now assume. We are not seeking to reinvent the wheel, but to adapt what has shown to work. Much of what the opposition has said regarding to the very strength of the ECJ forms the basis upon which the ECJ is believed to be the most appropriate entity to undertake the work of the political ombudsman, he added. The level of stature achieved by the ECJ locally, regionally, and internationally is necessary for the function of the Office of the Political Ombudsman to be clearly and effectively carried out. Investing these responsibilities in a 9-member commission will result in more impactful recommendations made to political parties or its representatives in circumstances where there has been breaches. It is in the nation's interest to extend the reach of a well-functioning ECJ to close any gaps that may exist in the oversight of the political process and political conduct, Chuck stated. Former Government Minister Carl Samudo had warned the government last week not to tinker with the ECJ. The ECJ, is arguably the most far-reaching, one of the most important institutions of not only Jamaica but the entire hemisphere. It is not an institution that can take tinkling, Samudo stated during his contribution to the debate. The bill will now go to the Senate on Friday, where the government will again use its majority to ensure it passes the upper house. It will then go to the Governor General for his assent, after which it will become law. Court clash. There is a legal firestorm brewing over the Director of Public Prosecution's DPP withdrawal of a case last month from a judge who was about to sentence a man who had pleaded guilty to rape and grievous sexual assault. DPP Paula Llewellyn has been chastised by the judge and criticized by several members of the legal profession for her action. They have emphasized that the DPP had the right to appeal rather than to stop the proceedings and start afresh before another judge. It was reported that the judge, who was visibly upset, remarked that the DPP had also stopped a murder case some time ago in which the judge was to preside. But in response, Llewellyn said what she did last month was in the interest of justice because non-custodial sentences that was being indicated was not the appropriate sentence given to the gravity of the allegations. It cannot be that the pendulum of justice must only swing in one direction for the accused, it must also swing for the victim, Llewellyn stressed. She said the process in arriving at the sentence was irregular. Attorney at law Joe Glow, president of the Southern Bar Association, when asked for a comment on the issue, said last week that he heard about the matter for some attorneys who were present in court on January 26. In my view, it was an abuse of discretion to use that as a manner because if the DPP is dissatisfied with the sentencing imposed by the judge, she can appeal it, Clue asserted. He said that the case would have to go before another judge. If a sentence is too lenient or a judge imposes a sentence that he or she is not empowered in law to do, then the DPP can appeal, Clue added. On December 18 last year, when the social inquiry report was ready, the judge again indicated that the sentence that was going to be given in accordance with the sentence indication, and it was reported that the judge then remarked that it was open to the court to appeal if it was aggrieved by the sentence. Senior attorney at law Leonard Green, who is president of the Advocates Association of Jamaica, explained that the court's power to give an advance sentencing indication comes by way of Practice Direction No. 2 of 2016. This is an essential tool that allows the accused an opportunity to know in advance what would be the likely sentence that he or she would face if a plea of guilty was entered. It has tremendous value and remains a helpful procedure that judges use from time to time to reduce backlog of cases before the court. It is vital that the accused persons and lawyers have confidence in this procedure, so if they are to decide to use it, then there is a real likelihood that they will receive some advantage or not wasting the court's time if they know that they are guilty of the offense for which they have been charged. If the office of the DPP adopts the view that they are entitled periodically to have the procedure aborted by entering such plea and state the case fresh, then there is a real likelihood that persons charged may be less inclined to use this process as a means of disposing of their matter rather than going to the route of a full-scale trial, Green stated. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.